If you're experiencing a time of inaction right now, maybe you feel like you're not accomplishing anything in your career, or you're just at a standstill and you don't really understand why, it's okay. It is always for a bigger reason. There's a deeper purpose, and you don't have to understand why you're having this period of inaction. You just have to understand that it's necessary. To better understand this, I want us to look at Winston Churchill for a moment. He had this period of time called his wilderness years between 1929 and 1939, where he lost his seat as an MP and he just wasn't working in politics for a decade. During this time, he painted, he did a lot of writing, he did horseback riding, he even built brick walls on his estate. It actually turned out that this time in his life was necessary for him to build up the energy that was going to be required to do what we all know he did. He became the prime minister again in 1940, a year after this section of time, and he was able to defeat the most evil being that we have ever experienced in anyone's lifetimes. To help explain this idea even further, I'm going to share a story from my life. When I was 33, we had just moved to a new house, and I got into a motorcycle accident and I broke my leg. It was 11 days after we moved into this new house. And the new house was, it was in a different town. It was 2 hours away from where I started my business. There was a lot on the line. I had to expand my business in this new area. Now I obviously couldn't. I had to recover from a leg that was snapped in half. Got steel in my leg now. That time in my life was so important. I needed that. I didn't know that I needed it. And at the time I was very angry that it happened to me and that I had to go through that period of rest and mourning for the loss of my father, and newfound respect for my body as a whole. But it was necessary. You see, I had this idea to move to a place called Muskoka, which I'm now in, but based off of what I was doing with myself up to that point in time, I wasn't ready yet. This 2-year period where I was forced to stop prepared me to have the mindset required to come and live in the place that I really wanted to be living in. I didn't know that at the time. I know that now, and I'm grateful that it happened. In that time, I had touched on mourning the loss of my father. I did just that. I thought about my dad a lot, and I did mourn him passing. He had died when I was 29. I didn't mourn him at all. Instead, I started a business and avoided thinking about the fact that he died, and that was it. But when I was laying in bed, and after that, stuck in a wheelchair, sitting around the house, maintaining my business, but not being able to go out and get new clients and do the work I wanted to, I had to face the fact that my dad was dead. I had to do that, As I recovered in physio, which took 2 years, I started to become amazed by the human body's ability to do what it does. Through eating right and doing physio, I regrew a bone. So I started to get curious about what else I could do. So I started lifting weights. I'll likely spend the rest of my life doing that and building up my muscle and getting stronger and stronger. But I had never been interested in that. I never had any respect for my body, and losing the ability to use my body how I wanted to gave me the respect that it needed, which made me a whole person. I already had my mind taken care of. I found the spirit when I was in my early 20s. The only thing that was missing was the body. And this forced period of rest and inaction was actually the most prolific period in my entire life. Now, moving to Muskoka is my World War II. It's obviously not evil. There's no enemy. There isn't fighting and death and killing. It is the same temperament that was required of Winston Churchill to deal with. I'm in a new place, and I have to make intelligent decisions with my time and the way I'm continuing to now more intelligently scale and grow my business. Because I got hurt, I decided that it was wise to pick a niche in my business. And now I only want to work with general contractors, home builders, and that's pretty much the only type of client that I'm working with. And I only realized that because I had that period of downtime to actually think about what I was doing and what I'm doing next. So that's something important to consider. If you're having some downtime right now, there's inaction in your career, it feels like a lack of growth. You need this time to recalibrate, to really consider your options and really get honest with yourself about the decisions you're making for yourself. Now for you, maybe there is no end in sight. You don't know when this down period is going to end, if ever. But you need to remember why you got into it in the first place. And you need to keep doing the smallest things possible to just keep moving the needle and being productive however you can. Remember the quote from, I think they say it in AA meetings, and I'm going to butcher this. God, give me the strength to change the things I can control, the serenity to accept the things I cannot, and the wisdom to know the difference. And that's what you need to do right now while you feel like maybe you're waiting. Because before you know it, you're not going to be waiting anymore, and it's time to take action. If you approach this downtime right, then it's going to make all the difference for you. I remember when, I'm getting a little off track here, but I remember when COVID hit, and I was kind of starting to dabble with photo video and making money doing it. And I saw so many people around me, just kind of slugging around with these lockdowns. Like, we'll stay at home and we'll just binge watch those series and eat, read maybe, and just not really do much. But for some reason, something inside of me was stirring, and it was like, man, this is your time. Like, it was like post-apocalyptic or something. It's like there's no rules. Like this is your time. The world shut down. Like just shoot and shoot. So I did do that. I just took a crazy amount of photos and got way better at it. Made a crazy amount of videos for no reason and got way better at it. And because I was doing that, people started to notice, and then people started to pay me. Like my business was birthed from inaction. On a global scale, the world was shut down and my business was born. Destruction breeds creation. Let yourself settle into inaction and notice when there's opportunities to make a move, and you build up your energy in the slow period to really be optimal when it's time to act. So use Winston Churchill's story. Remember that story. Think back on it. Even research it a little bit on your own if you want. It's kind of crazy. 10 years, he was a politician. And for 10 years, he wasn't doing his thing. But he was doing things, though. He was painting, and he was writing, and riding horses, building brick walls, hunting and fishing. He was doing things actively. And all of those things were things that he loved doing, and they filled him with energy. Enough energy to frickin' destroy the whole Nazi thing. And it's one of the greatest lessons I think we can take. First of all, from the experiences of others, but somebody like that, Winston Churchill, who apparently was a badass. And he took advantage of his downtime. That was not by choice. He didn't choose to lose his seat as an MP. Turns out it was what was necessary. Who knows what would have happened in the history of the world if he didn't have that downtime. Maybe this downtime that you're experiencing is a blessing.